Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, pontoon yachting. We're building our pontoon yacht. It is a massive 12-foot wide by 44-foot long double-decker DIY pontoon yacht. And in today's episode, we are getting all of our pontoons created, prepped, ready, and then placed, and then we're gonna actually start attaching them to each other as well. In the last episode, I showed you our 3D model and our design for this build out. We got our pontoons in the shop, and then we cut the noses off of 2 pontoons so we could weld them to the back of another 2 pontoons to make an irregularly long pontoon suitable for an irregularly long pontoon yacht. And that leads us to today. So let's get started. So pontoon 1 is ready to be attached to pontoon 2. We're gonna do this 2 times to create 2 38.5-foot long pontoons. And then we have 2 other ones. That's right, this is a quad tune, not a tri-tune. We have 2 other ones that are gonna go in the middle, and those are over there, and we'll be prepping those later in this episode. So in the last episode, we got these things cut, placed, ready to be welded. Oscar has fired up the welder and practiced running the spool gun. So we are using our Harbor Freight MIG Max 250, what is that, a 215? Yeah, it's 215 model, and so we use that for MIG welding all the time, but now we're actually doing some spool gun welding on aluminum, so it's just kind of a different attachment, different gas can, and it's good to go welding aluminum. This whole boat, everything is built out of aluminum, so you're gonna see us welding a ton of aluminum in this project. We're gonna really, not that we haven't been putting that thing to the test over the last few years, but we're gonna really be getting some use out of it. And we're probably gonna run out of that spool of aluminum pretty quick. So all we've done so far is cut these, and you use some oils and cutting and stuff like that, which are not, you know, gonna prep the surface great before welding. So we're gonna wipe this thing down very, very thoroughly with acetone to get it nice and cleaned up. Now overall, you don't wanna clean your pontoons with acetone. It'll eventually etch the pontoon and the aluminum and it'll look bad, but for prepping a weld surface, it is absolutely necessary. So prep clean the weld surface, and then we're gonna get Oscar running that spool gun, and we're gonna spool this bad boy together. Now, we gotta cut some of this other stuff out so we can get into there to weld all the way around and do some other stuff. So you'll see us, well, we'll give you an update when he's part of the way through and we've got it welded nicely in a few spots. These things aren't exactly circular going on to exactly circular. So some sections like this have a little bit of bulge, and you can really simply just take your hand and push that bulge down, but you gotta have other stuff welded or else you're gonna push it out here and might push it out there at the same time or something like that. So we'll get it all going, give you a halfway update. Oscar's about halfway through welding this thing up. So the lifting strake, the tail end of it got in the way. Didn't allow Oscar to get the right angle. So I came in here and cut this off. You can see it's a little hot, but angles. Yeah, that went on something like that. So we took that out of the way because it really doesn't matter. It's pretty arbitrary. Gave Oscar a little bit of room to clean up his weld, and he's gonna come back here and do that another pass. And then we got the big challenge of flipping this thing, which is gonna be really interesting. Don't you just love it when your concentration gets ruined and you get distracted at work by spam calls blowing up your phone? I used to get like 3 to 4 spam calls a day. And constant spam calls used to be a huge problem for me, and I never know where my phone number got leaked or how to stop all these calls. And that's why I reached out to today's episode sponsor, Aura. Data brokers take advantage of whatever personal information is floating out there on the web. And they sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else that might want to target you. Aura helps me by showing me which data brokers are selling my information and by automatically submitting opt-out requests for me. But it's not just data brokers that you have to worry about. Sometimes it's companies that you're supposed to trust. Recently, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records of both existing and former customers were released on the dark web. They recommended that people affected use things like strong passwords, monitor their account activity. They even said consider like credit freezes or fraud alerts from their credit bureaus. Well, luckily Aura does all of that for me. And best of all, I don't have to download several different apps just because some company couldn't keep my information secure. If my info was compromised in that AT&T breach, I wouldn't worry because I've got Aura. It's always on, it's always in the background keeping me safe. And I value my privacy and I value yours. So if you would like to support the channel and start to feel safe online, check out the link at the top of the description or it's on the screen right here. It's aura.com/B-is-for-build. Go click that link at the top of the description and start yourself a 2-week free trial. You will not regret it. Huge thanks to Aura for sponsoring this episode. Let's get down to work. Kyle's been being an absolute Kyle, helping us get all the furniture loaded up. So Deckmate is sold by Pontoonstuff.com, who is a huge partner with us on this build. I mean, so much stuff. So this is a lot of our furniture that you saw in the renderings and everything. And I want to show you the whole wall. But over here also, so Oscar finished welding this out, and then there are these little chambers here. And so Oscar's using the air compressor to just throw a little bit of compressed air in here. You want to be careful not to overdo it because Oscar's let me know that compressed air builds pressure quickly in big tanks and things can get dangerous. So light pressure added and then soapy water around the seam, finding if there's any leaks, and then little pinholes. Just here, let me zoom in on that so you can see what it.
There was a big gap right here, so it's going to happen if you have big gap, uneven surfaces.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to fill.
Yeah, so little pinhole. One thing I was remembering too is now that we have this up like this, things are going to move quickly and we might forget to flip it over and get on the underside and get that little bit of that stringer. So before we leave this done here, we got to finish the bottom little notch thing. We'll flip it over one more time and weld in a piece.
Yeah, I got to check it anyway. So
oh, you got to check the other side?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we're just basically leak testing this whole section and filling in any welds. This is the most shipments of things that we've ever gotten for a build at all. You can see by this wall of furniture. I mean, damn. Oh, big boat, big amount of furniture. Whew. Sweet! We built our first 38.5 foot long by 25-inch diameter pontoon with lifting strakes. Epic. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this thing on a dolly and a pallet jack and send it out into the parking lot so we can make room for the other one, which is that guy and that guy in front. And we'll start doing the process that we did before with the ratchet straps and the whole meetup and the faces and the leveling and the lasers and, you know, all that stuff again. Got the second pontoon welded up, and then we did another leak test on it to make sure that it had no leaks. I mean, it had a few, and then Oscar fixed them all up. So that is 2 full-size pontoons down, ready to roll. Our last episode just aired and the comments have been rolling in, and thank you guys all for the comments and different engineers writing in and different people that I've been talking to. One of the main issues that people are worried about is weight. Now, obviously when building a boat, it's something you keep in mind, but I just wanted to kind of walk you guys through the thought process and show you kind of where we're at numbers wise. Before I designed this boat, early on I just Googled, you know, generic weights of pontoons and you get different numbers, but it's pretty easy to calculate. So you need to calculate, like buoyancy is super easy to calculate when you know the liquid that something's going to be in. So we're in water, not really just salt water, it's just plain old river water. So basically you figure out how much water thing is displacing, how much of it has to move, and that's the force that the water is going to push back at it. So you can jump online, you can find a calculator, and so these are 27-inch diameter, those are 25-inch diameter. You measure the height, and then you just tell an online calculator, hey, tell me how many cubic inches fit inside of this cylinder. So we're just kind of discarding the nose cone for now. So for one of the center pontoons, it's about 170,000. For one of these ones, it's about 245,000 cubic inches. And then you figure out, okay, how many cubic inches are in a gallon? So let's say for an outside pontoon, it's 10,061 gallons of water could fit inside this. So that means that's how much it would displace if you were to sink it. And then how much does a gallon of water weigh? I think it's 8.34 pounds. So this thing, for instance, one outside pontoon would float 8,848 pounds. One of the center pontoons would float 6,172 pounds, and our hot tub box roughly would float about 5,000 pounds. Now, when you're operating a pontoon boat, you do not want to have them fully sink. That's a terrible idea. You want to be about halfway through your pontoon, maybe a little bit less. So you can do the math there and figure out, basically it's just the, you know, we have 2 of each one, right? So the 8,000 for that side, the 8.8 thousand for that side, the 6.something thousand for this side, comes out to 15,000 pounds of flotation. Then you add in the hot tub box, and let's say we'll use half of that too. That's another 2.5 thousand. So it's about 17.5 thousand pounds of flotation that we have on this boat. Most of our stuff did just arrive from FedEx, and we have the huge majority of everything that we're going to need to build this boat, and that only weighed about 4,000 pounds. But let's just be on the safe side. We'll double that number, and let's say we're going to have 8,000 pounds of supplies that we're going to put on this boat. Let's add in 1.5 thousand pounds for engines, even though they're actually only 600 pounds a piece. Let's say 300 pounds of fuel, a 2,000 pound hot tub, that's the water that goes inside the hot tub, 1,000 pounds in the materials that go into making these pontoons. That's the weight of the pontoon itself. And let's add in 300 pounds of batteries. That totals out to about 13,100 pounds of stuff we want to put on the boat. And again, we have about 17,000 pounds of flotation. So that leaves about, give or take, 4,000 pounds worth of human space. But we're obviously going to try and come in under our drastically overrated numbers here, because my goal is to be able to have about 30 people comfortably on this pontoon. I estimated each person weighs 200 pounds too, which isn't, I mean, it is America, but that's not very correct. I mean, it's correct for everybody that works here, but we like our lunch breaks. So that's the quick and dirty math behind calculating the buoyancy and how much weight the boat can take and all that good stuff. All right, moving forward, our next goal is, so by the end of this episode, we're really trying to have all the pontoons in their proper spot, sitting in the proper way, so we could start attaching them to each other, and then we could start being able to build the hot tub box in the next episode. So that's actually very technically hard. It's kind of the same process of what we had to do here with leveling all these things out and getting them level to the world so that they can then get level to each other and not have any we don't want to build the boat so the things aren't happy with each other, because then it'll just be constantly fighting itself. We've got our handy dandy level here, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to build some bases that these can sit on. Just build them out of wood, something that cradles as much of this as we can, because as we add weight we want it to be nice and strong. For now we're just going to do one in the front, one in the back. Once we get a little bit further along, we'll be supporting it in more areas as we add weight onto these things. So we're going to build a base here, and then that'll allow us to start putting these things into place and leveling them with shims, leveling them to the world. That way we know one is level to the other. This would be really nice if we just knew that our shop floor was perfectly flat, but they never are. And this one's no different, so we have to use lasers. Hey everyone, I'm back home, late night editing session, and I'm seeing this this vertical striping on the time lapse. Now this has happened before for various different reasons, And all I can say is I'm really sorry that this is in the footage, and we've been filming, so it's going to be a problem in this episode and in the next episode. I'm pretty positive it has to do. We're constantly trying to make the show better. We're trying to do better with our camera equipment and stuff. So we've been upgrading our cameras, and there's just like new settings, and this is the first time we've tried some new settings, and it's not doing well with our LED lighting. So I'm really, really sorry. I'm gonna edit this down to be as fast as I can. This stuff pains me to see, but please do try and remember too that we really pride ourselves on what we build and what we do and what we create as far as in the engineering world and stuff like that. We were never really in this game to be YouTubers. YouTube is just the outlet that we are able to show the world what we do. Yeah, we pay a little bit more attention to how we're welding, how we're cutting, how we're building than we do to how our filming is going. And that's why we got an episode and a half ahead of ourselves before we found this problem. So I'm really sorry about this. I'll get it fixed, I promise. My bad. Oscar and I got all our little block things built. It just gives us a place to put these things so they're not gonna roll anymore. Now, if you remember on the 3D model, 2 really long ones, these go on the outside. 2 of the shorter but larger diameter ones, these actually go on the inside, but they can't have the nose cone on them. So we've done this surgery once before. We're just gonna cut along the weld line that the manufacturer created when they did these. We found out these are actually welded by robots in a lot of places. So that doesn't look like a robot weld though. Anyways, we're gonna be, we prop these things up, get them in a way that they're stable and that they're safe for us, and then a little bit of oil on the cutting disc helps a lot to move that aluminum out of the way, and we'll go ahead and cut these nose cones off of these middle pieces, because in the long run, these butt up to our hot tub box moving forward, so that's how we plow the water out of the way before these pontoons. We have successfully deconed these 2 pontoons. It is kind of funny, we buy 6 pontoons and only 2 of them actually end up with a front, but that just means we got 4 of these babies to play with. So now that these things are deconed, we are ready to start moving everything into place. That's the game plan. So those things are upside down right now, upside down. Everything's upside down. We need to pull these 2 out of the shop. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get those 2 things kind of mocked up width-wise, the large ones, and get the backs of them in the same spot, and then we'll be pushing these things back in towards the middle and start to find locations on things and find out where our supports for the stringers are going to land. We've got the outer 2 in the building, right side up and everything. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use some of our C-channel for our stringers to connect both of these things up. This is not the actual width, it's just like mocked up. And we're gonna drill our holes in it. First, we're gonna check the width of the garage door. It's roughly 12 feet, but it's gonna be, we gotta obviously make the boat a little shy. So we're probably gonna do an inch of wiggle room on each side. And then we'll center that stringer. We'll drill our holes appropriately, and then we'll let that align us with the back one. We'll do the same up in the front, and what that's going to do is that'll square us off and line us up and then set our width. It'll be able to do all those things at once. So we're going to go ahead and bolt in our first stringer. Some of these stringers are 2x2 square, like square tubing, and some of these are C-channel. This is an example of square tubing, and this is an example of kind of like what the C-channel looks like. Just like that. C-channel is a little bit cheaper, but in different spots where I found it to be more important structurally, we use square tube. So that's kind of what you'll be seeing. And even on the back, as we actually, in the long run, when we're working off the back here, you're gonna see some 3x3, really strong stuff. Nobody's shocked here, but we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. We forgot that, you know, when we put the stringers down here, we're not going to be able to get our taller other pontoons centered in the middle. So we got to do that. How we're going to do that, I don't know. We're going to get creative. We're going to lift, you know, I don't know, one side at a time, something like that. These aren't fully bolted down. So we'll get that up, and then we got to get those in the middle, and then we could square this thing off, and then we can start to figure out where those go. Kind of forgot for a second there that it'd be really easy to unbolt this. So we unbolted it, we slid those two things in there just temporarily. And now we need to do one more thing before we square everything up. These two center pontoons and our hot tub, they actually sit 2 inches higher or lower. It will be lower in the water. It's higher right now than the other two pontoons. The reason boat manufacturers do this with tri-toons is that when you get up on plane, it helps make the boat a little bit more maneuverable. It's kind of same, it's a bit of a V-hole concept, I guess you could call it. Anyway, so it puts a little bit less weight on the outside pontoons. It's going to help the boat corner and turn a little bit. So that was intentional. That's why we have 27s in the center and 25s on the outside. And so the 27s plus our hot tub box, they sit lower in the water. So what we're going to do before we, because we need to basically get to a point where we're not moving these outside pontoons anymore. And then very soon we'll get to a point where we're not moving the center ones anymore, and everything will then just get bolted together. So we're going to lift these things up, and Kyle's in the process of cutting up some 2-inch spacers. So we're going to lift each one of these up. We're going to raise it up 2 inches, hopefully without moving it at all horizontally. And then we'll be squaring everything up, and then we can finally figure out where these center ones go. All right, we got the outside pontoons dialed, measured corner to corner. Everything is square and they're at the right elevation. Now we're gonna go ahead and set the center pontoons. Those need to be 3'9" off the back. So the difference from the back of this to the back of that, 3'9", and then 6'5" width separating them from outside of pontoon to outside of pontoon. All right, guys, exciting stuff. We've got the center pontoons. They are level in height, they are parallel, and they are in their right spot with their separation. So this is the pontoon layout. The back of the boat actually goes out about to here, and then the swim deck goes back to about here. So that's, the boat is gonna go basically from like right about where I am to the front out there. Very exciting stuff. In the next episode, we are going to be building our hot tub. It is the enclosure for the hot tub, and that lives right in here. This whole space gets filled with the hot tub enclosure. It connects to the front of these two pontoons, comes all the way out to the, I believe, all the way to the front stringer. I'd have to double check my 3D model. If it's not the front stringer, it's the second stringer. So it's a very, very long, it's a 10-foot long structure. It's a hell of a thing. We're going to build that all out in the next episode, but I'm very happy in this episode. We've got all our pontoons in place, we've got them all level, and we ran a few stringers. This is what the bottom of our boat is going to look like, plus a giant tub. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you made it this far, also check out our website, bisforbuild.com. This has become a very, very expensive project with all this aluminum we're buying. So if you want to help out and support, head over to our website. We got some brand new shirts. We've got the B is for boat shirt. We've got the B is for boat / it's actually a yacht, so the B is for yacht shirt. And also by fan request, I threw a few of the old designs back on there. I saw some comments that you guys missed a few of the old designs, so I threw some more of the classics on the website as well. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We got a ton of new subscribers on the boat in the last episode, so please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes on this project. It is sure to be a doozy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace!